So, ladies and gents, this Hollywood strike, the writers and the actors, it's not going very, very well. Specifically now, we're talking about the WGA up against the AMPTP. Standstill on discussions, complete standstill on talks. I've said time and time again that this is absolutely going to shake, change, and burn the Hollywood industry to the ground. It's looking like that's a foregone conclusion now. There is basically no end in sight for any of these strikes, either or, because I can't imagine the WGA is going to back down. Well, the SAG-AFTRA is going to back down if the WGA doesn't back down. They're sort of feeding off of one another, bloody hitting things all over the place. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's not great. It's not great. This is going to cause quite a lot of issues when it comes to content and production. So, what I mean by that is, well, we're months into it now, aren't we? Months. So, months out of production, months of films not being made. You're looking at probably a hefty chunk of time without any content. This genuinely could lead to some movie studios going bankrupt or being in a situation where, because they have no content or no money for content, they almost have to kind of rehash all the old stuff or take out new financier deals or combine with other studios, which would be or and this is the real kicker, take government handouts. And the reason why I say that that's probably a potential chance if they go proper bust is that the government will bail them out because it's one of the biggest exports. Financially, it's huge. It's not my government, but your government, stateside. So anyway, earlier this week, reports indicate that the Writers Guild of America and the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers might be close to negotiating a deal. But it seems talks have broken down after both sides traded barbs following the publication of the studio's counteroffer. So there was no current plans for the parties to return to the table. Now there is no end in sight for the strikes. So what is it? The standstill itself is said to be a direct result of the AMPTP going public with its first counteroffer since the studio's initial response to the WGA's original proposal shortly after the strike began. Don't really see massively what the issue is with that, but never mind. Details of the proposal include gains in residuals and protections against artificial intelligence, and was slammed by the WGA as a ploy, not to bargain, but to jam us, with the counteroffer described as not nearly enough. Wasn't that exactly what you were asking for? More residuals and protections against AI. Wasn't that exactly what you were asking for? Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty certain it was. Okay, sure. So insiders now believe that the proverbial ball is in the WGA's court, and that AMPTP President Carol Lombardini would like to re-engage so that the talks won't become stalled for too long. I'm genuinely almost speechless, because this is exactly what they asked for. There is nothing else that they asked for, really. They weren't looking for anything else. This was exactly what they were asking for. And they're like, no, it's not nearly enough. So this is the original article from the Hollywood Reporter. It's 18th week. 18th week. I mean, yeah. 3 odd months. That's crazy. So according to sources on both sides, there remains no timetable for when negotiations for the group representing Hollywood studios and streamers and the Writers Guild Negotiating Committee will return to the talks. Reps for the AMPTP and WGA declined to comment on the status of negotiations. The standstill comes after the AMPTP on August 22nd went public with its first counteroffer since the studio's initial response in May to the WGA's original proposal mere days after the strike began. The release of the proposal, which was dated August 11th, so a long time ago now, but sent out publicly this Tuesday, includes gains in residuals and protections against artificial intelligence, was slammed by the WGA as a ploy, not to bargain but to jam us, with the counteroffer dubbed not nearly enough. The Guild, in a memo to members, August 24th, said it responded with its own counterproposal August 15th, and further negotiations transpired in the days that followed. On Tuesday of this week, WGA leaders met with the AMPTP as well as CEOs from Disney, Netflix, NBC Universal and Warner Brothers Discovery, with the union noting that the message it received was that the August 11th proposal would be the company's first and only offer since the strike began in May. that does go hand in hand with everything that they've been saying. They can just hold out. I mean, some producers in Hollywood and studio execs were like, no, we're happy to make them lose their job, like lose their house, lose everything. We don't care. So in releasing its counteroffer, the WGA, the WGA, which members criticised as an unforced error, AMPTP President Carol Lombardini said the offer meets the priority concerns the writers have expressed. That's everything. That is honestly what everyone else is going to look at this and go, that's literally what you had an issue with. Why haven't you accepted it? So that's bizarre. And doubled down on the group's desire to end the strike. So the WGA, it's worth noting, has not released the specifics of its desired terms since the union detailed its proposals after going out on strike May 2nd. It does sound a bit like they are, kind of taking the piss a bit now. So studio side sources say the proverbial ball is in the WGA's court, that Lombardini would like to re-engage so that the talks won't become stalled for too long. Sources said that the AMPTP had planned on going public with its offer to the WGA on August 18th, but delayed doing so because insiders thought the union might take the August 11th offer to its members. The WGA said that despite progress being made in the offer, it was the equivalent of giving with one hand and taking back with the other, and dubbed the release of the proposal a tactic in the middle of an ongoing negotiation. I mean, it is a tactic because they don't think that you actually took it to your members. So maybe they want them to see it. You know, the people that are members of your union. So the barbs from both sides began hours after members of various unions gathered at Disney for a National Day of Solidarity, staged by SAG-AFTRA. It saw thousands close streets near Walt Disney Studios in Burbank. I am almost speechless with some of this crap. Genuinely. Like, this just makes you think Hollywood absolutely unequivocally deserves to burn. This is everything you asked for. They released it because they had suspected you weren't taking it to your members. Turns out that was probably true. Bizarre. Not bizarre. They think that they've got the studios over a barrel. They really, really do not. Leave your thoughts down below. Love to hear it. Burn Hollywood, burn, I guess.